So the first thing we're going to do in making our hash browns today is we're going to roast some of the vegetables. So I have a little bit of olive oil in here. I'm just going to put it in my hands, and then we're going to gently massage our poblano. Just give it a nice little thin coating. And our habanero. A little bit of spice, and give our garlic a little bit of rub. So these are going to roast. Got my handy dandy little toaster oven, so we'll pop those in there. And it'll take a little while, but when they're done, we'll pull them out and show you. They should be nice and crispy and black on the outside. So I have about a cup, just a bit more than a cup of beef broth, and what we're going to do is we're going to put it in our hot pan and reduce it down so we can add some moisture and flavor to some of our hash browns and make them steaky tasting. So it'll take a little while, just keep an eye on it, nothing more to do. Have you ever wondered what one of these are for? Cut your fruit in half, open this up, put it in there, give it a squeeze. Now check this out. How easy is that? No seeds, no fuss, no muss, and you have all your fresh squeezed fruit juice. I realize that depending on the time of day you're watching this could quickly turn into a margarita with hash browns or a martini, but for now, we're just going to stick with breakfast. All right, so you can see our broth now has pulled away from the floor of the pan for a little bit, so that's exactly how we want to get it. So there's just enough flavor and liquid left to make it really, really nice. So we'll turn the temperature off, we'll move it from the heat, and that is done. And you know what, if you've done it a little bit too much, you can always add some water back into the broth, just not too much, because we don't want to have soggy hash browns. We just want to have beefy flavored hash browns. All right, so now we're going to get ready to do our potatoes for the hash browns while everything else is cooking. So this is the traditional way. Take your peeler, peel it, but you know what? All this skin is full of nutrients. Most of the nutrients of your potato are in the skin. So I like to leave it on because that just makes it healthier. So instead I just cut them in half, cut them in half again so they're all nice and quartered. Turn my machine on, do it the old-fashioned way. Alright, so we just finished shredding our potatoes. Get our lid off. A little bit of chunk left, but that's okay. We'll put this in the cold water, because if you don't, it'll turn brown right away. And we don't want that brown from sitting in air. We want that brown from crisping up nicely in the pan. So our peppers are ready. So just take them out. They're hot and sizzling. Put them in the bowl. Now I don't suggest using a plastic bag at the beginning because that could melt and that will just ruin everything. We'll take our plastic wrap. Woo! I got some static charge to me. And we'll just let these steam so that's easy to pull the skins off later. Alright, so we're getting ready to make our hash browns. They've been sitting in water. We just manually drained them in the sink. And now we're just going to put them in our little bowl here that's got a tea towel in it so that we can squeeze the rest of the moisture out. Because if you have a wet potato, as you can see, look at that, it's all coming out now. Just give it a twist. You want to get all this moisture out, otherwise, when you put it in the grease, it's going to splatter and wreck a good shirt. And the other thing is, you don't want steamy, mushy hash browns. You want them nice and crisp on the outside and firm on the inside. All right, so we got that out. Nice and dry. The first thing that we're going to do is add some flour. So just under a tablespoon of flour. Sprinkle that in there. And then 2 really good dollops of sour cream. Okay. And then we're going to add our cheddar. So the cheddar, you want to add a 1/4 cup, not too much cheddar. So for flavor, I use sharp cheddar versus just regular mild cheddar. And then we can mix that together and form our patties. All right, so give that a quick stir, get the sour cream going. You know, this is one way that you can keep a lot of the sodium out of your system, which will, you know, help, especially if you have high blood pressure. I'm actually going to put a 1/3 scoop of sour cream in there. If you guys ever seen me eat sour cream, I like lots of sour cream. Now, even though I say don't use spaghetti sauce, I actually have a spaghetti sauce can. Sometimes it's for emergencies for the rest of the family when they want to eat something, but I use it for this. So here's my plate. Here's my ring. We're going to take a bunch of this, put it in here. I like those round patties. I don't know about you, but round patties are great. And here's that can of spaghetti sauce. Look at that. It fits perfectly in there. Ta-da! There's one done. Quick and easy, right? Put some more in. And you only want them about tops 1/2 inch thick. Oop. There's the second one. Here comes the next one. As long as it doesn't fight me. We're gonna make this one just a little, there we go. Put your spaghetti can in there. Give it a twist. Oops. And we have 3 perfect patties. And now we're gonna move on to the next one. And then 2 really good dollops of sour cream. Okay. And then we're going to add our cheddar. So the cheddar, you want to add 1/4 cup, not too much cheddar. So for flavor, I use sharp cheddar versus just regular mild cheddar. And then we can mix that together and form our patties. All right, so give that a quick stir. Get the sour cream going. You know, this is one way that you can keep a lot of the sodium out of your system, which will, you know, help, especially if you have high blood pressure. I'm actually going to put a 1/3 scoop of sour cream in there. If you guys ever seen me eat sour cream, I like lots of sour cream. Now, even though I say don't use spaghetti sauce, I actually have a spaghetti sauce can. Sometimes it's for emergencies for the rest of the family when they want to eat something, but I use it for this. So here's my plate. Here's my ring. We're going to take a bunch of this, put it in here. I like those round patties. I don't know about you, but round patties are great. And here's that can of spaghetti sauce. Look at that. It fits perfectly in there. Ta-da! There's one done. Quick and easy, right? Put some more in. And you only want them about tops 1/2 inch thick. Oop. There's the second one. Here comes the next one. As long as it doesn't fight me. We're gonna make this one just a little, there we go. Put your spaghetti can in there. Give it a twist. Oops. And we have 3 perfect patties. And now we're going to move on to the next one. All right, so we're going to start with our sour cream and cheddar. Just going to lightly, carefully get that out of the thing. Woo! Gently put them in there and let them cook. All right, so you can see they're nice and crispy brown. We're going to turn them over if I can. Oh, look at that. So I put the jalapenos in. Just going to add some honey for that sweet jalapeno. Depends how sweet, you know, maybe a tablespoon, maybe 2. Give that a stir. And we are ready to start mixing. Alright, just like before, put it in. These ones are done. Just going to take these. We're moving along, got my flour in there. Now this one is the poblano, so it's going to be the chili and lime. Remember that lime juice I squeezed earlier that you thought was going to be for a martini or a margarita? Not quite. So we're going to mix those all together. The other way to make these a little bit stickier, as you saw my last one, they're kind of falling apart. Just add an egg. Flour's already in there. Okay, so this one, for all you garlic lovers, we have roasted garlic. It may not look like a lot, but we all know how strong garlic is. So you actually don't need that much unless you're going to use, you know, like a garlic powder. Not a salt, of course, because salt, as you know, is what we're trying to avoid, but keep the flavor in. So you won't, it doesn't look like much, but there's garlic in there. And you know it because you saw it go in. So mix that egg around. Get a little warm in here with all the cooking going on behind me. I got my mold. Move that off to the side. There we go. What we're going to do is a little pico de gallo. So we got our squeezed dried potato. You know, just slightly more than a cup. We also have our tomato, which has moisture in it. So we may not need to add as much. I'm a huge green onion fan, especially my pico de gallo, but I love cilantro, so we're putting that whole thing in there. We'll mix it around. Remember, there's the tomato in there. Now, if you have tomatoes from your garden, they probably have a lot more moisture in them. So as I look at mine, I see that it needs an egg, so I will add an egg to it. Coming along nicely. So this is pico de gallo. It's just simple tomato, and you can't use canned tomatoes because all that stuff has high amount of sodium in here. You know, the reason why we're doing all this potato is because potatoes loaded with potassium, and those of you who know how good potassium is to us with high blood pressure. All right, so is taking a walk. You know that you can do that too to lower it. Actually, you can do both. Have a nice breakfast. Go for a nice walk. Of course, if you live in the desert, you probably want to go for the walk first before the sun comes out and cooks everything that's outdoors. This is a unique one. Remember the steak broth that I had that I reduced down? This is all that's left of it now. It's highly concentrated with that beefy flavor. We mix that in with our flour. We will break an egg. Even though you saw me add moisture, it wasn't, I don't think it'll be enough. We got our egg, mix that all together. So we want to have steaky flavor, which, as you know, steak and potatoes go great together anyways. So just have fun with your hash browns, right? Forget the days of the boring hash brown where it all just was potato and salt. You know what? Take the salt out, add in some steak flavor. You know, you could even use that no salt chicken broth or beef broth if you so choose. I'm only going to make 2 of these. Voila, doesn't that look pretty? If this is your first time watching me or you've been following me on Instagram, you know I'm a big fan of rosemary in my potatoes. So the last one that we're going to make is just a simple rosemary hash brown. Throw in our tablespoon of flour. Snag our egg, break that in there, make sure you didn't get any shell. And I'm going to throw in half a tablespoon or so of dried oregano. if it'll come out of the bag. There we go. You don't want too much, but you want enough that you can taste it and you can smell it. Mix that up. Get it kind of wet, but not too wet. I don't like my potatoes soggy in the middle. I like them to be a little bit firmer. Alright, got our ring. Now I'm a big fan of the rosemary flavor, so you know, they might be a little bit bigger, these hash browns, because we know who's going to eat them. And that's the good benefit of being the cook. I want hash browns. All right, so take a look at all these, but all the different flavors. Ta-da!